This is Channel 253.
On this episode of the Grit and Grain Podcast.
I'm the clam guy. Man, I swear to God, I pick up I feel like that's all I do. I'm just like, all right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta go pick up clams.
Run.
I'm on a clam run. They're like, hey, where's Mikey? He's like, oh, he's on his clam run. Yep. He's running to the fishmonger picking up clams. Sure.
Channel 253 is member supported. I'm producer Doug Mackey, and I hope you will show your support by going to channel253.com/membership and join. Thank you.
Welcome to the Grit and Grain Podcast, where we explore and celebrate the craft beer industry, community, and history in Tacoma, Washington, and surrounding Pacific Northwest areas. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's get to it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Grit and Grain Podcast, coming to you guys from Peaks and Pints in Tacoma, Washington. That's pretty good.
Simulation.
I thought it was from the kitchen.
Simulation of, yeah.
My name is Matt McLaren. Not here with Ron Swarner. He's actually over in Yakima, picking hops and brewing beer and doing all that fun stuff for an awesome project that he gets to be a part of this year. And Phaedra's with him. So it's me and it's Bethany.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Very good.
And Doug. It's Doug,
Hi.
too.
It is Doug, too. Doug is also on.
I'm here.
And?
Not, yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out. As always, if you haven't, please like and share and comments and all that stuff. It helps us out a ton. And leave reviews if you can. We love getting more eyes and ears on the podcast when we can, and that stuff helps a lot, actually. So if you haven't yet, please do. You whistling, Doug?
Yeah, well, I was finding the note that the cooler's at.
Oh.
Right. Anyway, carry on, as you were.
So we're hanging out today. Our guest today is actually somebody I'm excited to talk to, and I'm glad this came together kind of last minute. But he's a new business owner in Tacoma, but has been running a business for quite some time in the greater Tacoma area, or just outside of Tacoma, over in Puyallup. And my guest today is Mikey, who is owner and operator of the new Chez Lafayette in Tacoma. How's it going, Mikey?
It's going pretty well.
Yeah?
Thanks for having me.
Totally, man. Thanks for coming through.
Yeah, this is an amazing thing that you lot are doing, and yeah, I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you.
So,
thanks, man.
Thanks for having me.
Shoot. You sound very sultry on the mic. I appreciate that, dude. It sounds lovely.
I'm going to get even more of this.
Yeah.
It's about to turn up.
I know.
Look at that.
Already. Jesus.
Yeah.
That fresh hop is just cooking.
I was about to say we're all drinking, I think, the same fresh hop beer right now.
It's delicious.
Yeah,
But yeah, we're
Is that a hop? Is that a hop in yours?
There's a hop in mine, yeah.
There's a hop in yours.
So I've got
What's a hop on her step?
the Zweigel House Fresh Hop Kolsch with Tetnang, which is awesome.
Nice.
And there's a little hop floating in mine. And then we are all drinking the Matchless.
and CLS Farms fresh hop. I think it might be Strata, either Strata or Centennial. I'll have to check. Those are like the two early harvest hops that are kind of coming out right now. But it's delicious.
My guess is Strata.
Yeah.
Of those two, but
All right,
I don't know.
all right.
I don't know.
See, I threw the
Anyone
can away.
know the menu? Oh, it was in a can. It's not on draft.
Not on draft.
Okay. Well,
But it is delicious. Very light.
it's really good.
Kind of has that little bit of like green tea, sort of fresh hop, kind of delicate, like juiciness. I love that a lot.
Like a candy. It's kind of like it's candy sweet.
Yeah,
too.
totally. I've had a few early fresh hops that are like pretty hot still, like that kind of like super sharp, like hop burn. Not huge on that. So if I get something like this, it's like kind of on the delicate sort of green tea, like kind of grassiness. I love that. So this is right in the pocket for me.
Do breweries such as Matchless, do they shoot for a different flavor profile every year for their fresh hop, do you reckon? Or is there what's the wiggle room?
I think it's more like shooting for the most you can like express what the hop is, what compounds the hops are said to have. Mm-hmm. So like for Strata, something like lime and like sharp citrus fruit might be like a really common expression out of Strata. So a brewery's aim would typically be to like get that into their beer as much as they can. So it wouldn't be aiming for like a different thing every time they try to make a fresh hop, just aiming for like the most accurate representation of whatever that hop is.
I think they vary the hops that they use every year for the most part. Breweries do. Yeah. Sometimes it's just which one can you get the fastest? Like what hop is going to come out the quickest so that you can get yours on the market the fastest.
Right, because it's fresh hop season.
It's
Right.
time,
It's
baby.
like we gotta do the fresh hop.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you haven't made them already, it's way too late.
There should be like a 90s hip hop themed fresh hop.
For like every
Yeah.
drop of like the,
I'm sure that exists. Yes.
Don't forget that. Delete that part out of it. Something. We gotta do that.
every time there's like a new drop of
You
like,
heard nothing. Yeah.
yeah. Well, every week is like, 1 week it's like Centennial, and then it's Strata, and then it'll be Citra, and then like we have Tettnang, so like random sort of like German cultivars of fresh hops. So it's like, it's funny to see because a bunch of breweries will do single fresh hop beers. So there'll be 9 different Centennial beers, and like the most fun part is always like trying each brewery's different version of this one hop and like who gets the most out of it, who makes the most balanced thing. That's like the most fun thing every year. It's fun to try all of them, but like finding like the random sleeper hits that are like, holy cow, you got this crazy flavor out of this hop that I've never tasted before and it's so good. That's always really fun. Mattress is off to a good start.
They're a labor of love to make fresh hop beers.
Yeah.
How far
Very
does that go
messy.
back historically? Like, is fresh hopping a newish thing, or is it hundreds of years old?
That's a good question. I wouldn't say 100. Well,
Well, let me tell you, this is definitely a question for a level 3 Cicerone.
God damn it.
Yeah.
They could just come out
Do
with
we
it
have
like
any?
that.
Oh, there's one sitting in front of me. I mean, you guys can't see him, but I can.
No, they can see me now.
They can see it.
Oh,
They can see me now.
They can see through him now.
Son of a
Say hi to
gun.
your mom.
I know they can see
Son
through
of
me
a
now.
gun. I forgot that there was
Do
a
you
camera.
know?
That honestly,
I don't
it's-
know that answer.
So like there were people. It's probably a long answer, but people probably did when they first started putting hops in. They could only do it one time a year, and then they learned that you could dry them out and still get some of the effects out of it.
Right.
So at first, it was probably like you're only hopping beers like this during harvest season, and then they started preserving them, and then kilns came around. They started drying them like that. And then I think that it's like the first time I ever had like a sort of contemporary version of a fresh hop was probably 2013, 2014. And it was Deschutes chasing freshies. And like, that was the cool thing about
yeah.
it was that like, hey, these guys, this only comes out this time of year because they put like freshly harvested hops in it. And I was like, why is that different? And then did like a whole crash course on it. And then like the next year, or maybe 2 years after, Fremont's Field to Ferment series started coming out. So they would do a series of like, it was all one series, and then they would do a different hop every time they released it. And that was like the big fresh hop hitter, I think, kind of for this modern era of like demand.
Yeah, I guess my question would be better. Probably it's a better question is when did it become popular? When it was first recognized as a style or a practice?
I would
mean,
say-
they were
10 years.
probably doing this 100 years ago. You know, just
Yeah.
doing it. But
I would say probably like in the last 10 to 15 years.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what I would say too.
okay.
Yep.
And most of the time, brewers are driving. Somebody from the brewery is driving over to Yakima to pick up their hops, and they're like, they've already started the brew day. They've got someone doing the brew back at their brewery, and then they're literally bringing in the fresh hops and throwing them in at hopefully the right time. Cross your fingers.
Yeah.
Hopefully the hops make them back in time. But yeah, so it's a labor of love for sure.
For sure. I know there's a lot
Maybe
of
if you're fancy, you get them delivered to you.
yeah. There's a lot of
Breweries that have
traffic
money.
from the east side of the state to the west side of the state during these like 2 months.
Yeah, just vans full of bags of fresh hops.
Yep.
It takes a lot. They're bulky, obviously, which is why we now have a better way to preserve them and
Yeah.
keep them. So pelletizing. But yeah.
It's like fresh hop season is like football season, and it happens to
For-
happen around the same time for beer nerds.
yep, for beer nerds,
and then
100%.
it happens to be the same time.
Yep.
as well.
Does pelletizing change it at all in terms of the flavor profile or any of that kind of stuff? Or
It mostly doesn't. You retain quite a bit of like the original compounds, but like naturally just drying hops out and then like processing them like that will change how much like oil and stuff is accessible. But now guys like Single Hill are pelletizing fresh hops like to process them without drying them in order to make the oils more accessible that way.
Yeah.
So like the utilization like techniques are still evolving quite a bit. which is interesting. And like you have guys doing that, like Single Hills. Fantastic fresh hop beers are like a result of them experimenting with like how to make oils more accessible. And then, but honestly, you also have guys who are just sticking fucking weed whackers into their tanks with all the hops in there to kind of achieve the same thing. Just chop them all up and get all the oils out. But yeah, in general, like drying hops, like the way that we do it now, you preserve most of the flavor, but there's just this like this extra special little hit of something that like it doesn't get preserved when you dry it, and you can only get it for 6 to 7 weeks a year. Wow. So yeah, it is kind of like the Super Bowl. It's like football season.
Yeah.
Well, Mikey, thanks again for rolling through, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Like I said, you're a new-ish business owner in the Tacoma area.
Yeah.
With a fantastic new Creole restaurant in downtown called Chez Lafayette. Can you talk about how that project started?
Oh man. I mean, it all started with my folks. They born and raised in Sri Lanka, and then moved to Lafayette, Louisiana. So that's essentially where everything began. Then the whole story, everything. I mean, it probably would span beyond the time that
The 45 minutes we have.
So I'll brass tax it, and I'll crunch it, and I'll roll it into a little ball, and I'll just like give it to you. Yeah, I mean, first restaurant 2013 in Puyallup, Bourbon Street, and I think like it was always just in the deck of cards to do something in Tacoma, and something slightly more elevated than what we have in Puyallup, but like within just sort of this brasserie type of vibe. Because I'm a sucker for like French brasseries and bistros, and so just like figuring out really how to like cross utilize and cross reference, like integrating that into like Cajun Creole, the aspect. Focusing on the French side of Louisiana. Yeah.
So Chez Lafayette is kind of like the culmination of that idea.
It's a culmination of that idea.
Yeah.
Like also just 10 plus years of just being in the restaurant business, the first one, and then just everything I've learned over the past 10 years just coming into fruition. Into a joint. It's like everything I've known to love about like, well, food, beverage, but vibes and hospitality, really. I mean, anyone can cook, anyone can make a drink, but I think the most exciting part for me throughout the entire project was just like designing it, and like it's almost like a production, like a movie, if you will. Like for me, I think the best part is like we'll do like a vibe check with the team at a certain point during the day. It's like 4:00 vibe check.
Yeah,
like candles lit, everything's got to be like on point, and then lighting. Right, so at a certain point, we'll adjust the lights, we'll adjust the temperature, the music. When you set a constant on your food and beverage program, you can really focus on that sort of like
all the extracurricular stuff,
extra little details.
Yeah,
which are super important.
Yeah,
totally.
And the space that we have is, I mean, it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
it really is. Like, I mean, it's got an incredible view. It was such a tricky space for businesses in the past for reasons,
sure.
It's
the old built spot for anybody listening who's unfamiliar.
Anyone that's ever built out a restaurant or is in the restaurant business in Tacoma can attest to permitting and planning and processing and all these things. But
it's really quick, right? Just kidding.
Don't get me.
I know,
darling.
There's quite a bit of.
You guys might have to like.
Take like a couple days.
I know, right?
Like, all right, pipe it down. It's no.
I'll
get the motherly like pinch on the arm.
Oh no! I'll start kicking you under the table.
Yeah. But no, it's a gorgeous space, and I put a lot into the design itself. You know, it's like that's it. And we still have a little bit more to do.
Sure,
you know, we're just doing the opening in phases. So when you're opening a restaurant, super manic. You know, it's like you're so naive. You feel like you have the systems down, everything in place, but then I think the biggest thing is not you are going to get pulled in so many different directions, and it's like balance. Like, how do you delegate, like doing one thing at a time? So it just came to the point where we were just like, okay, let's just open the doors and do everything in stages.
Sure.
So let's plan the restaurant opening and, you know, like 4 stages. Start out with a small crew, a small menu. You know, we're still hanging pictures and shit up on the walls.
Yeah.
And you're still also going through the motions of a restaurant. You know, so it's like, you know, last week I'm running around with a plunger during dinner service. Like, I'm like, how do I sneak this plunger out? Like, somebody clogged the toilet.
It's a vibe. It's a
I was gonna
vibe.
say that's a different.
Vibe. Yeah, but like Friday night, then it's like, cool. I devise a tactical plan. I put the plunger in a to-go bag because I don't want to carry a plunger out doing the
It's a baguette.
Yeah. Put the baguette thing over it.
Nothing to see here.
And then like an hour from now, I got to punch in a meat and seafood order. You know, it's things like that, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Running a small business in general.
it's great though. I love it. I love it. So we're,
2 days are never the same.
we're on the right trajectory to be streamlined, and that's the goal.
That's awesome.
What are your hours right now?
Right now, we are Tuesday through Saturday.
Okay.
We open at noon. And it's closing still a little laissez-faire. On Google, I think it says like 9 p.m. But we're still like, come on in.
Yeah. It's just whatever.
Yeah. Just
Whenever the vibes change.
9 o'clock, because the team is also really excited to be there as well.
Sure.
And so it's like we're stretching out a skeleton crew. So it's, you know, we're all just putting in the time. So, you know, they're excited for people to come in. People are excited to come in. So we don't want to turn anyone away until, you know, once we get to that 4th stage, when we streamline, then we can have sort of more defined parameters of hours and things. But initially, when we first started, we were open 6 days a week. We were open on Mondays. And it was a couple of weeks ago, we just got wiped clean over the weekend. And I was like, we need a day. We need a day, you know. I mean, it was like a 9-hour work week, and I'm just sitting down staring at a wall, and all I can see is like Monday.
Yeah.
The writings here.
We can all relate.
The writings on the wall. That's Monday. So just send a message out to the team, and I was like, all right, guys, we're taking Monday off for the time being.
Sure.
Because I love a place that's open on a Monday. And I don't want to be that joint that's closed on a Monday.
Sure.
Because there are people that are like, man, I wish they were open on a Monday. You know, but we need to rectify and figure out before we can
We can
get
be
back.
burning people out either.
Yeah, going back to Mondays.
Yeah.
So we'll get there.
Right on.
And then just Sundays. We just need one day.
Yeah. One recovery day. once it's all
Overworked is a
streamlined.
vibe too. It's not a good vibe.
Right, yeah.
No.
It's not. No. You know, we started out strong, and now we're like, okay, cool.
Yep.
So I have a vibe check question actually, because I love that, and I'm curious, like if it's 4 o'clock and you're rolling through, and you're like, all right, vibe check. Are you adjusting things based on like how the day feels in general, or like how
sure.
you guys feel as like a staff? Like,
Both.
Are you guys feeling like dim lights and candles? Like, what are you guys thinking today?
Well, the dim lights, like it's both. Like I have different playlists on. I'm a music nut.
Yep.
You know, I love, and you know this
Totally.
from Bourbon Street. You know, it's like I've seen you multiple times. Like I think some of my fondest memories of you is like when I've made a cocktail and I'll like go to the back, grab something, and I just see you like sitting at the bar, just like
Working on my laptop, nodding
your
my head. Yep.
And that's such a gratifying feeling, you know, because
Sure.
it's just like, for me especially, when I go out to places, I want to go to joints where it's like you can just thoroughly be immersed in you can tell somebody read the room.
Sure.
You know,
I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
That's funny because, like, if you are sitting somewhere and you're like doing your thing and you're like eating or drinking or whatever, but you're bopping your head to music, it's like you're engaged with your surroundings, like an extra dimension of like attention. And I've never even like thought about it that way because it's just music is music. But like when you can tell somebody that is like singing along, mouthing the words, whatever, or bobbing their heads, it's like they're paying attention.
It has to relate.
Yeah.
You know, it has to relate. It's like oftentimes you go to places or like dinner parties or somebody's hosting something and they might put on music or set up this vibe that's like a little bit too about them or how they feel or what like the music that they're into in the moment, you know.
Sure.
And it's like you just don't really resonate with it that much.
Sure.
You know, so it's like for me it's like, I mean, it's music that I enjoy listening to, but it's also like, you know, how I feel people are moving throughout the day. Usually it starts out with like gauging traffic, right?
All right.
Or, you know, or like just how I feel in general. I was like, oh man, like today it was kind of a slower day. The defrosting period was still kind of like in full effect. And I feel like people were just like, so I put on some like bossa nova, you know, some like Stan Getz, something easy. You know, and lunch was beautiful. People were just like and talking, and then you can kind of see it too. Your lunch crowd, you see how they engage with everyone else, and that kind of sets the tone for the day.
Sure.
You know, so you just adjust as you go.
Yeah. Doug is
I'm fascinated by that.
like Doug's a
Doug
music
over there.
producer. He's like, this motherfucker's spitting right now.
I mean,
Well, as a
truly.
performer, you know, like
Yeah.
I play in bands and stuff, and it's a pretty entertaining show, and I do improvisational stuff, and I read the room and adjust based on the room. But I never thought of doing it for a that would happen for a restaurant. You could actually see moods change throughout the hours of the day, and such.
Exactly.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah, you know, it's reading the room. I think like, you know, as a dear supporter and a really good friend of ours who's quite prominent in the Tacoma community, and he said, you know, when you have all these things down, like especially in the restaurant business, like, you know, you've streamlined your product, your vibe, your hospitality. You're in the people business. You're really understanding, engaging people, you know, and when they come in your shop,
And it's a show.
It's a show.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, it's a show. And, you know, you're dealing with different personalities, different moods, different emotions, right? Different people in general that are going through different things throughout the day, right? And so you're trying to create this environment that's kind of like neutral to all of that, you know, but like comforting.
Yeah.
And like it just
You're like balancing their
Accommodating.
frequency a little bit.
Yeah, accommodating.
Yeah.
You know, where it's not, you know, it's almost like an equalizer, right? Like that's what you're doing.
Keeping it all in the middle. Keep it all
check.
balanced.
You're keeping it all balanced.
Yeah.
Keyword.
Yeah.
You're keeping it all balanced.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest challenge right now is, well, keeping all parts of the house in balance and learning how to gauge your dining room, the community, your guests, you know, and making sure we don't run out of clams.
Which is what you're
And
doing
that.
today.
Hey, I'm the clam guy. Man, I swear to God, I pick up like I feel like that's all I do. I'm just like, all right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta
I'm
go
on a
pick up
clam
clams.
run.
I'm
Yeah.
on a clam run.
On a clam run.
That's all I'm doing. I'm like, and they're like, hey, where's Mikey? He's like, oh, he's on his clam run. He's running to the fishmonger picking up clams.
I know.
I'll actually text Jeremy like from time to time. It's our other buddy. That's over there. You know, we love clams. Somebody actually just showed me this video of this kid yesterday. He's like the clam kid. Have you seen that?
No.
It's hilarious. He's just like, all I do is eat clams.
Well, I know what I'm doing on the break.
Yeah. But you know, I'll send him pictures like, look what I picked up today. Some beautiful clams. I love it. It's become a thing.
Nerding
I've like
out.
integrated.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, why don't you just have it delivered? I'm like, no, I kind of like it now.
Yeah.
I like going there and picking
Clam
up
run.
clams.
Going to the market.
Clam run, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on my clam run.
That should be the name of your next collab beer.
Vibe checks
clam
and
bit.
clam runs.
For sure. Definitely. You know.
Sure. Well, speaking of breaks and beer and stuff, we're going to take a quick break, grab another beer, but hang out for a second. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Eric Hanberg of Channel 253, and I want to thank you for listening to this podcast and all of the podcasts that we have in the network.
Yeah, this is producer Doug echoing that thanks, and also saying that if you would like to support us with a membership, please go to channel253.com/membership and join. It's $4 a month or $40 a year, and it pretty much is the sole reason that we can come to you now with podcasts.
We are listener supported. You can help keep the microphones running. $4 a month, $40 a year. Channel253.com/membership if you want to check it out. And again, if you are a member, thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for hanging out during the break. As always, a quick shout out to Doug, on the wonderful producer on the mic today.
Yay!
Thanks, Doug.
It is my pleasure.
And to Chris, who has his own video now.
Yay!
Yeah, we're back, and we have new beer, but not new beer, because Bethany was already drinking this. But I think me, Mikey, and Doug all have the Zoigl House fresh hop Kolsch in front of us, which is fantastic. Yeah. What did you end up drinking, Bethany?
The Crux fresh hop.
How is it?
Good.
Yeah?
Really good. Kind of old school vibes.
Totally. I know it looks like kind of
Sea hops.
multi-balanced.
Yep.
Yep.
So how many fresh hop beers are on tap right now at Peaks and Pines?
There's 3 or 4 right now.
3 or 4.
Pretty soon it'll probably be like 9.
Wow.
There'll be a lot. It's still early.
Yeah.
We got a few of ours this week, and so did everybody else. But over the next 2 weeks, there'll just be a huge influx, and it's going to be great.
Come to Peaks and Pines, folks.
Totally.
You'll
I know.
be here.
Ron, like we said, Ron's not here. He's over in Yakima doing fresh hop stuff. And actually, Bethany's going over to Yakima too.
Yes, I am.
Why
I
are you
get
going over to Yakima?
So the Master Brewers Association chapter meeting is there, and I'm speaking as on behalf of the Funk Busters about draft line cleaning safety and all things draft system cleaning related.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really
I get my
excited.
drafts cleaned twice a month
Yeah, good for you, man.
Good.
because of
Nerds like me.
Matt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was like, hey, you should do
Indeed.
this.
Yeah.
Every
Twice
2
a
weeks.
month.
Yep.
Every 2 weeks. That's the gold standard.
Shout out Beer Masters
Yeah.
tap cleaning services. Alex from Beer Masters.
Those guys do good work too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Tap
Good.
Master, Beer
Bethany's
Master.
like, I'll fight them right now.
Yep. We'll talk later.
I'm kidding.
Just didn't go the way I thought it was going to go.
No, it's
It's like
fine.
I also just don't know who else is in the business of clean.
If you ever decide.
All right.
Yep.
My partner and I, we're
Okay. Good to
we're
know.
here in Tacoma doing our thing. We
You
just
do the thing?
Yeah,
How
we
often
do
do you
the
recommend?
thing.
Twice a month?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Everybody.
Cool.
Which a lot of people don't do. Actually, and this is funny because this is a good
well,
segue
then we'll talk
into
after.
yeah.
Sounds good.
I do trust these guys, and they're my first recommendation.
Perfect.
Thanks, Matt.
Love.
But anybody out there who is helping keep draft lines clean is
Doing
good
the Lord's
with me,
work.
man, seriously. And honestly, it's funny because I think Tacoma's got a lot of is central to a lot of draft line cleaning services. Like a lot of businesses are based here to do that, and so just naturally, there's a lot of very clean bars in Tacoma, which I really love. I can mostly go anywhere and be pretty sure that these guys probably do it at least once a month, and so my beer is not going to be funky or rancid or anything.
It's a good thing for a town to be
It's
known
nice.
for. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was the fact that you do clean your lines. You have a pretty small draft beer selection. It's not like anything
6
crazy.
beers, yeah.
Six beers.
6 beers.
Most other places who are only pouring 6 beers, if they even clean their lines at all, probably don't do it as often as you. But that's a testament to how seriously I think you take all the aspects. We were just talking about how seriously you take just even the vibes of your restaurant. But there's a lot of places who take their food menu seriously, take their cocktail menu seriously, and then they just don't spend as much time on the beer side. And that's always a bummer to me because it's if you're trying to approach a good customer experience holistically, but you're just putting on all of the beer that somebody could buy at Safeway down the street, I feel like maybe you're missing the boat a little bit on opportunities that exist out
Certainly.
there for something special. And you've always been pretty dedicated to making sure that your customers get something that they can't just find somewhere else. And which is so for anybody who doesn't know, Mike and I have been working together for probably almost 10 years. No, maybe 8 years.
You spilled the tea. I was just going to say, I buy my beer from this level 3 Cicero.
And so that's working with
I
Matt
always
Bourbon
put
Street.
Matt on the spot too, when I can.
It's true.
With people, I'm like, that's Matt. He's a level 3 Cicero.
Do you know who you're in the
Do you
company
know
with?
who he is?
Yeah.
Do you know who I get my beer from?
My biggest motivation for passing my level
great.
4 is for this to not happen anymore, and then it'll just be level 4 now.
He's just gonna grow his beard.
When is that going to happen?
I don't know. When
mean-
I'm 40,
How old are you now?
I'm 35.
Well, that's coming. That's coming.
It's like got 5 years.
But you are going to do it, though. Yeah, good.
I think I'm going to work on getting my certification after I'm not immersed in the presentation stuff I've been working on for the MBAA. I'm gonna work on my
How long is that
certified.
presentation? Half an hour?
25 minutes.
Dang. 25-minute lecture on line cleaning is awesome.
Yeah, and we're all gonna nerd out, right? I mean, I'm gonna nerd out. I don't know. I'm talking to a bunch of brewers, so I think.
But you're not going to give away
fun.
secrets, are you?
I mean,
Nope.
yeah, there's no secrets. It's just, there's a whole binder about how to
She's
keep
gotta
your
have some
lines.
secrets.
But, like, we got to let people know what we do too, and like we got to hold other cleaners to a standard too. Here's how it should be done, and here's how we do it. And
If you had a secret, would you let anyone know that you had?
No, that's the whole thing. That's what I'm saying.
It's the biggest secret of having a secret, man.
Just telling people that you don't have a
True
secret.
ninja.
That's true.
So she's denying she has a secret, which means she does have a secret.
Exactly.
I don't know nothing.
All right. Playing coy over there.
Like it just puts everybody on blast in the most positive way.
Yeah. But going back to, talking about
Yeah.
cleaning your beer lines and working together.
Yeah, we've been
Right.
Yeah, we've worked together for.
For me, it's like if you look at our orders, it's just like, so we have 6 beers on draft. We have a light beer, which rotates between a Pilsner or a lager or a Kolsch.
Okay.
Either an amber or red, 2 different IPAs, 1 hazy, 1 West Coast,
Okay.
1 wheat beer. And now just like a seasonal.
Yeah.
I haven't put a dark beer on the map because I feel like my favorite dark beer is the kind of, we have Samuel Smith's Taddy Porter.
Oh, yeah.
in bottles.
And there's something to be said about like a glass bottle dark beer coming out, and we have these like really sexy beer tulips. So just like pouring it tableside, that to me is like way more efficient than a dark beer on draft. And also like dark beer on drafts just don't move as
Sure,
frequently.
sure.
I love
So
that.
it's
Well,
Yeah.
it's
seasonal.
Sam Smith, too, so you're doing it right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Our seasonal is that monkless peppercorn wit, right?
Whoa.
But the Bramble actually that you guys just got to, the Bramble
Yeah,
Saison.
that's
which
gonna be good.
We talked a lot about actually, because we did a show at Brew 53, and that was like one of the beers of the day there. Like people just went nuts. And it's a Saison with just all kinds of bramble berries in it. It's absolutely insane. So good for like the warm weather.
But I'll text Matt and say, Matt, I just need this style, and he's like, okay, cool, this is what you're getting.
Yep.
But they're
Yep.
they're delicious beers.
Yeah.
But they're also, I feel like the people that make those beers would be happy to know that we clean our beer lines twice a week.
Yep.
Or just twice a month.
Yeah.
And how we, it's like I would much rather do a handful of things well and focus on like 6 versus like
20 or something.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
just a good variety of
Yeah, that's a good selection.
Yeah,
good
that's right.
spread. Yeah.
Yeah, cleaning draft lines. I got into it because I used to be a brewer, so my beer would go out into bars and it would taste like crap at some of the places because the draft lines weren't clean, or we were just going out and you'd order a mayonnaise and you're like, that's not what a mayonnaise should taste like.
Yeah.
Like you get to know your beers, and that's not a fault that the brewery would make. That's a line cleaning
Exactly.
issue, and so we're like,
You know,
let's
it's-
address this.
It's also like it kind of like I'll do this whole like full circle thing where I'll just like draw in references that you might be like, where is he going with this? But trust me, it all comes together.
I trust you.
Like, one thing I try to tell my team is don't restrict yourself by saying you don't like something. Like let's say, it could be like a spirit, like, or a digestif or an amaro, something bitter, right? Where it's like let's say Campari, for example, right? We know it, we know what it is, we know what it looks like, but like straight off the bat, it might be too bitter for somebody. Someone might have not been exposed to it in the right way or introduced to it in the right medium, and they'll be like, "Oh, I don't like that." you know, but if you have it like in the right capacity, made by the right person who knew exactly how to introduce it, you know, if you had that moment, you know, you understand what I mean?
Totally.
So different. Yeah.
Totally.
Exactly. And so it's almost just like saying like, well, I don't like Campari. It's like, these guys have been around for so long, right? They're doing something right. They've got the formula down. You know, people love them. It's like, was this like a you thing? Or is it the way that you were exposed to it?
Yeah.
Sure.
You know?
Setting.
It's like throw a pinch of salt on it, maybe cut back on the Negroni, you know, have somebody stir it for a little bit longer. Like whatever it is, it's like don't restrict yourself from what other people like and enjoy when introduced the right way.
So is the approach more like if you don't like, if you're not restricting yourself to whether or not you like something or not, is it more like, how can I make this enjoyable?
I think there's always an angle.
Okay.
There certainly is always an angle. Like tomatoes, for example, right? I think a lot of people in this area, they are like, no tomatoes, hold the tomatoes.
Sure.
Have an opinion about tomatoes.
They have an opinion about
I feel
tomatoes.
like a lot of people have an opinion about tomatoes too.
Sure.
But see, like, perhaps their introduction to tomatoes was like a sloppy, watery, shitty tomato.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, just like on a burger or like the 4th of July get together or Uncle Sal's grilling. He doesn't give a shit about tomato. I don't know, maybe he does. He sounds like he does, but like somebody, you know, just whatever.
No way
just
Uncle
like a diner.
Sal
Yeah,
doesn't
Uncle
care
Sal.
about
Yeah,
tomatoes.
forget that. Yeah, but like, you know, just maybe a diner. You know,
Sure.
like a, you know, just like a diner restaurant
like a
burger.
white
And
tomato.
yeah,
It's not supposed to
just
be
like,
white.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly it.
It's like,
Flavorless,
and that's
like-
their first like, ew, I hate tomatoes. But I mean, we all know tomatoes. I'm assuming y'all like tomatoes.
Yes.
We grew up,
great.
Good ones.
We've all had our moments. Exactly.
Good ones.
Right? We have a panzanella on the menu at the restaurant. And we get these awesome tomatoes from this produce company that we work with, Pacific Coast, Best Produce. And they're these heirloom baby tomatoes. And they're like sweet, cotton candy, fruity, like lovely. And they're, you know, we try to encourage sharing, and certain guests have been like, wow, like,
I didn't think I liked tomatoes.
I didn't think I like tomatoes. But I freaking love these tomatoes.
So this is an approach that I take to recommending beer pretty often.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people will be like, oh, I don't think I like beer that much. And like my response to that is almost always, I guarantee there's a beer out there for you. You just gotta, you just have to
haven't had
find it, and you have to have it in the right context, right? But I will actually even go a step further and say that like most people who think they don't like IPAs probably are used to like 6-month-old oxidized IPAs off of like grocery store shelves. And if they had like a fresh, balanced, super expressive, very aromatic IPA, like from a really good producer, they would probably be like, oh my gosh, I didn't think I liked IPAs, but this is great. I've like had that interaction so many times, and it just comes down to like, you know, having a good version of something is important, but also just like the context. Like in a beer dinner, I'll pair an IPA with something, and people go, man, I didn't think I liked IPAs, but with this, it's so good. It's not as bitter or it's not as harsh, and I don't know. I guess I've never verbalized the approach like that, but that's a really good way to like not only like just introduce people to new things, but also like gain trust with like
For sure.
a customer base that you're trying to build.
And it's always nice. I think the significant thing for me is when you start to recognize yourself or the person that you introduce something to, like when you see that, like, you know, for me, it's like when I start to appreciate something that I never thought I would appreciate, or something I'm learning about, right? So it's like IPAs, for example, right? It's like, oh man, you know, went into this spot, Matt McLaren poured me this IPA, you know, it's that experience, that whole thing. I was introduced to it. Now I'm like, I want more of it. I want to learn more about it. And then you catch yourself in that moment of like, you know, you start seeking these experiences through this medium and understanding it.
Sure. And if you can be the person who is trusted to provide those experiences, now you have like this customer base that like trusts you implicitly on these new experiences.
Certainly.
Yeah.
You capture yourself in this moment of learning and experiencing, which is great. And if you can track that and register that, it's great.
Yeah, and you just approach
You
everything.
know, when you
that way.
have these like aha moments, you know, it's like with whatever it is, like oysters or cured meats or tomatoes or wine.
Yeah.
My God.
Wine is a big one,
I know
actually.
it's a beer podcast, but
No, man. Honestly, like we've had, we've had a lot of people on the podcast. A lot of people who you have worked with off and on, and like there's industry people sitting in here right now. Like, I think that a lot of people in the industry know you as like a specific anchor point, honestly. And I think it's probably because of a lot of the stuff that you're talking about. You take all of these things so seriously, and you really give a shit about how our product is being presented to people who are at your place. And we expect that from places like from Ron at Peaks and Pints or from the folks at Parkway. We don't always expect that from like small bistros or whatever. We spend a lot of our time trying to convince small bistros like yours to take this stuff more seriously because it would actually match their vibe a bit more.
Yeah.
And you just do it off the bat. And so I've joked about this before, but like, industry people in the room can attest. Like if Mikey asks for something, usually we just do it. If you ask for, us all to come and meet you about something because you have an idea, we will all just be there. And it won't be like the reps in the area. It'll be like the director of sales at like Unique Wines will come and hang out because it's Mikey that asked. And like, I think that sort of thing is kind of a testament to this too, is like, you run your business in a way that we kind of hope everybody else.
well, because
also
I'm
would.
learning at the same time as well.
Yeah.
I'm fortunately in this point in my life and my career, where it's like I don't know a lot about a lot, or it's all the people that influence me. Yourself, Dan Armstrong from Cavita. I'm dropping names. I'm dropping names. Corey from Bianca Rosso.
Sure.
Like I feel fortunate that like all the people that are involved in dealing with our program and what we do and what we sell are individuals that have dedicated their entire lives to just doing it fucking well. It's like that's your job. That's what you do. That's your craft.
It's great, like, as an account, I bet it's great for you to be like, hey, I need this type of beer, and you're like, cool.
Yeah.
Like you are delegating to people
For
with
sure.
this sort
And
of
it's
experience.
also like we're doing business together, but at the same time, for me, like I had this moment today, like this sort of, and it's always been like this, but it really kind of happened when I was I had a tasting with Dan Armstrong from Cavitapi, great wine book, at noon. And I mean, we didn't taste through much. It was just like a quick, like, hi, we're talking about a captain's list, and he had some wines. But he was on a roll today. I told him I was coming on this podcast, so he'll listen to it. He'll probably have a chuckle about it. But like, I was like, what cup of wisdom did you sip on today?
Just dropping the
Because like,
dropping the knowledge for
it
you.
really felt like this, and it always does, like tasting with you or whoever, like where it's like like education. Like I'm sitting down in this class, like I'm getting this knowledge. Like I feel like I'm at school, but it's also like my livelihood at the same time. So everything is just, it's like you're going to school, you're working at the same time. And
Sure.
like all of these components are coming together, and it's a learning experience, truly. And all I can do is try and convey that the best way I can via a menu, teaching your team, and pouring in a bloody glass or putting on a table, or a plate, sorry, and on the table. And
That's
serving
I
it
know.
with a smile.
What a mic drop quote, man. I should have taken a video of that. Ron's gonna be mad.
Well, Mikey, I feel the same way. I mean, I'm the producer of the podcast, but
Yeah.
I'm a beer novice essentially,
Yeah.
or certainly not a professional. So I bathe in the knowledge of these folks every week or every other week.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
It's, doing my work, but going to school too.
Exactly. What's the saying? If you ain't learning, you ain't growing.
That's right.
Exactly.
There's truth to that.
Speaking of learning, what do you know about sherry?
Sherry. Oh, jeez.
I know it's a beer podcast.
Yeah. I know, I know enough.
Yep.
I know enough to know I like it.
Sure.
I know enough to know that we have some of it, not a lot, but just the right amount.
And you include it in a lot of your cocktails.
Yeah, we
more
have it
so
on,
than anybody that I know of.
on the menu. In one of our cocktails, we do a punch. Our cocktails right now, we've just I think we have four cocktails, but we've cross-referenced 2 to meet 1, so it's like a daiquiri punch.
Oh, all right.
There's a Manhattan meets a Boulevardier.
You have twice as many cocktails.
Yeah.
Knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone.
in one drink, yeah.
Yeah. Then we have a gimlet meets a gin and tonic. So it's a gimlet and tonic. And then we have the Chez Margarita, which is kind of like a Cadillac meets a classic margarita.
That's awesome.
But in the daiquiri punch, we have a beautiful sherry that we actually get from Dan Armstrong.
I hope Dan hears this now.
Yeah, he will. But yeah, sherry. I mean, sherry really, for me, it kind of started with Christopher Keel, who operated in Rama, started in Rama.
Sure.
He is the one that really introduced me to the world of sherry.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
And it changed the way you approached
yeah,
this kind of unusual and unknown drink.
Yeah, I did a sherry certification exam back in 2018.
Yeah.
And I was massively hungover that morning. My
Dang.
God.
It's like my SATs.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I wasn't hungover for my SATs because I did them when I was 18.
Sorry.
Nice.
SATs and graduation day are both rough.
But, yeah.
But I made it.
Here we are now.
No degree. Well, speaking of that,
Trello, 3 Cicerones.
I know that's it.
And as long as
Thanks,
I keep
Doug.
dropping that.
Yeah, as long as you keep dropping that, I'll keep editing it out. Yeah.
I have one question. If you're not eating at your own restaurant, where are you going in Tacoma?
That's a good one.
Well, I actually don't really eat at my restaurant. And if I do,
Understand.
I mean, if I do, I'm splurging down a cup of gumbo in the back and, or nibbling on croutons and rice. And I mean, we have amazing produce and everything where it's kind of one of those things how do you not eat? You just, I don't know, I just don't.
Can't get high on my own stash.
Yeah, don't get high on your own supply. But I think the question is more where do I like to eat in Tacoma?
Yeah.
Where would you
Well, I've narrowed it down.
Yeah.
To my joints. I like
Okay.
my spots.
What are your spots?
Let's start out with Chicken and Joe's at the Spar.
All right.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chicken and JoJo's at the Spar. Garlic sauce,
Classic.
green Tabasco, and ketchup. Make your own
yum.
sauce. That with a schooner of Guinness, or I think they have the Black Raven pills on right now.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, great, excellent. And then a little garden salad with Italian dressing.
Dang, that's
So good. Yeah, it's delicious.
Sounds
And
awesome.
it's a fantastic deal too. $18-19. You get this half chicken JoJo's the size of this room. And then one thing I love doing as well is just taking leftovers home and making leftover chicken and Joe soup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or whatever you want, really. Just broth,
dang.
put some veggies.
Is it enough for 2 meals for
see that.
less than $20?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
no, yeah. I mean, it feeds it certainly feeds 3 to 4 people. Really, I mean, if you want to juice it up with salad,
Bones
and,
for the stock a little
bones
bit.
for the stock.
Honestly, I wouldn't have guessed the Spar, but now that you're talking about it, I'm I kind of want that.
Yeah, it's great, man. Yeah,
Solid.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Chicken and Joe's from the Spa. Let's see. Obviously, I mean, big fan of Wooden City.
Sure.
My boys, Abe Fox and
Abe's
John
awesome.
Green. Abe just came by for lunch today.
Oh, did he? Is he in town right now?
Yeah.
Dang, man.
Those guys are just crushing it, man.
Yeah,
So,
they do great. That's salmon toast, man.
yeah, it's
What a bite of
lovely.
food that is.
But I mean, that's a given. Calzones from Half Pint. My
Hell yeah.
God, dude.
How come nobody talks about those?
We're talking about it.
That's such a good answer.
We're talking about it.
Oh my! I was
So it's more like I've found like these heavy hitters at
Sure.
joints, right? Like I think since the pandemic, like I've just kind of been like, I just want to go to one place for like like either one thing or like a handful of things, and it's service has to be good, obviously.
Sure.
But like there are also places where you just develop a relationship with them.
yeah.
But anyways, like the calzone at half pint, my God.
So good, bro.
That should
so
be
good.
Those should be declared like a state treasure.
Yeah, I've had a lot of pizza in a lot of places, and like those are phenomenal.
I went through a phase. Like, well, I think it's just been established where I was like calzones. And all my friends just got tired of he just got tired of hearing about it. He's like, show me this fucking calzone. So we go over there for lunch one time. He's like, all right, I get it. He's like,
I get it. Yeah,
But meatball, sauce, ricotta, mozzarella, basil, and mushroom, and like a hefty side of pepperoncinis with some sauce. My
Sure.
God. Dinner for like 2-3 days. $15.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's between
Alright.
4 people if you want, or by yourself, whatever. And it's
Mostly
better,
by myself.
And it's better the next day too.
Totally confession.
They're so good. We're supposed to tell a fuck up story, but I feel bad because Mikey, instead of doing a fuck up story, I actually want to talk about something else.
All right.
Mikey actually made a beer recently with a local brewery that is on tap at his restaurant. I suppose you didn't. Maybe you didn't make it with them.
I would do a disservice to the lovely crew at Narrows Brewing by saying that. It was
You made
more
it-
like Pete came by one day and he's like, we made a beer for you. And I'm like,
Such honesty.
yeah. I'm like, well, thanks, Pete. He's like, it's in the tank. Here's a growler. Taste it. Let me know what you think. It's like everything that I feel like you wanted Kolsch to be. It's a Kolsch.
Yep.
And that's it.
Cool.
And it's like it'll be ready in 2 weeks.
And it's on tap right now.
Yeah,
right?
he's like, just design a logo if you will. Otherwise, here's the logo, and it's just
Here's your
like
face on it.
It's my face with, that just says Mikey's Creole Kolsch on it.
That's awesome.
And so
As somebody who has my face on multiple tap handles around Tacoma now, because fuck.
yeah.
That's
I
awesome,
approve
by
of
the
this.
way.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting in a bar
it's so
and like
great.
somebody across the bar will be like, "Is that your fucking face
It's
on
so
that tap handle right there?"
It's so
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke at first. I was like,
No.
no, this is real.
100% real. My face is on multiple tap handles
You
around this
deserve
fucking
it.
city.
Awesome.
So anyway,
Yeah,
I'm glad
yeah.
I'm not the only one now.
Well, what an honor, what a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys are in the cool
Let's sit
club.
on our pedestals. We got our own beers
with our
faces on it. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
great. It's great.
In lieu of fuck up story, I just want to tell you guys to go and check out Chez Lafayette and go try Mikey's beer that he made with Narrows, who does a fantastic job, particularly with German style beers. Their goes that they did with Kelvin was fantastic. So I'm excited to go try it. But yeah,
we really have to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But I do have another question, which
Sure,
you
sure,
said
please.
the French side of Louisiana food. So what is the French? How would you define that?
I wouldn't say
in a nutshell.
more like the French side of Louisiana food because I think that's already like ingrained into the cuisine.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But so I grew up in Sri Lanka, and so born in New Orleans, moved to Sri Lanka, lived there for like 16, 17 years, and the school that I went to required us to take, it was either French, German, or something else. So I studied French for a long time. Just massively enthralled by like French cuisine and culture and restaurants and everything, right? I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
And I mean, like everything I wrote, I like actually failed because I always just wrote about like food. It was always just like, it was like the same, it's like when you're trying to fill an essay up, right? It's like, hey, go to the bistro, get chicken and fries, get a glass of wine. And my teacher's like, you gotta stop talking about getting poulet roti and glasses of Beaujolais and, But so just always loved French restaurant culture. And I think like as an adult, like traveling to New Orleans more frequently and seeing like how that style of service and that vibe was like already there. It's like trying to integrate that.
So more of the French vibe than the culinary
more the vibe.
aspect
I mean,
of it.
if you want to call it that, really.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to have guests coming or people coming and be like, oh, what's French about this?
Yeah.
Like it's
Don't come at him like that.
like there's certain certain like little bitty touches. I feel like our whole team, they're in whites, they wear white bistro aprons.
Okay.
You can see certain cookbooks, things like that, certain parts of the design, just like what I think a modern brasserie should be with like the food that we serve. So that's it. Yeah.
Great.
I love it. Well, yeah, go check it out if you haven't yet. We'll skip a fuck up story, but Mikey, thank you as always for hanging out,
Appreciate
man.
it. Thanks, guys.
Ron's not here, so I don't have an intro, but I will say, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Follow us if you can. Do all the things. You can email us at cheers@gritandgrainpodcast.com with questions or anything like that. And if you mail us samples, we'll drink them on the air, which is always fun. And then, there's no bad time to visit Tacoma.
Correct.
There's no such thing as too much barley wine.
You got it, people. Come on.
Tune in next Friday for more sweet chatter. Cheers.
Thanks, Mikey.
Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us at Grit and Grain Podcast wherever you get your social media and catch new episodes every Friday. Cheers.
Channel 253 is member supported. I'm producer Doug Mackey, and I hope you will show your support by going to channel253.com/membership and join. Thank you.
This is Channel 253.